What is the Aboriginal Pipeline Group?
The Aboriginal Pipeline Group are made up of the Inuvialuit, the Gwich'in, and the Satu. And the Decho have the ability to join in, whenever they settle their land claims.
What is the nature of your partnership with the companies that want to build that pipeline?
Groups have a 1/3 ownership on the pipeline. We have a seat at the table, and we are able to set the direction and make sure that the pipeline is done, that is done in a manner that we like to have it, you know, both, like mainly in the environmental side, and make sure that our people on the economic side, our mandate is to maximize the return to our people in the form of dividends and what have you. So we're there to make sure it's done right for our people.
You use the word partnership a lot. I mean, I guess you're the product of a partnership. Your dad was from Ontario, your mom was Gwich'in, and here you are. Is that sort of the model for success? Is both sides of the table working equally? Is that the Inuvik way?
I think it is now, and I think it always has, because just the Aboriginal people, that's how they survived. They work together, they hunt, they trap, they share. That's the background there. And we all know that if you want to win a hockey game, you better have a good, strong partnership, and you got to have a good team leader. The whole idea behind this is that we want to be able to, we lost our industry, and that's the trapping industry, hunting and trapping industry. And the anti-fur movement back in the 60s, 70s killed our industry. So fine, that's past. So now we want to go forward. And ever since that, we've been on sort of the welfare system. Our people have lost their pride, and they lost their way of life. And now we're saying, look, we want to regain that pride. We want to be able to build an economic base for our people, for the future. And the way we do that is to get involved in such as Mackenzie Valley Pipeline. So when the industry came back and said, we wanted to talk about building a pipeline again, our people said, if there's going to be a pipeline across our land, then we want to be part of it.
Who killed the trapping industry? Was it
the anti-fur movement down in the south?
In southern Canada, or was it also foreign pressure from Europe and other places?
Southern Canada started, and from Europe as well.
I got a question for you. Is it the same folks who are trying to stop the oil and gas industry in pipeline?
I would say so. A lot of them, for sure.
Do you think it's just coincidence?
No, I don't think that's the case. I mean, they're fighting things they're fighting any development all over the country now. And, you know, people think that I'm totally against the environmental movement. I think they play a role in our world. You know, I don't know where we'd be without them, to be honest with you. But like any other group, there are crazies in there.
Now, let me ask you this. I mean, I've met the Premier of Northwest Territories. He's Aboriginal. I've met some other Aboriginal leaders, a lot of elected politicians. Every single Aboriginal leader, either of a community group or an elected legislature, is pro-development. That strikes me as different than in, say, some of the southern Canadian debates, like the Northern Gateway Pipeline. What's different about the North? Is it a realization that if it's not resource industries, it's nothing? Why are you, as a Métis man, why are so many other Northwest Territories Aboriginals gung-ho? I mean, earlier today you were leading a cheer, like you literally led a cheer. Who wants this pipeline? Stand up and cheer. How come you were so passionate about growth in industry?
People need jobs. They need jobs desperately. So how do you create jobs, right? Yeah. You have to have some industry.
Do you want that Mackenzie pipeline to start being built right away?
I want to start it about a year ago. And we did all the environmental reviews. We've been plagued with environmental reviews since the Berger in 1970.
When the application was finally made for environmental review, was it a 7-year process or something like that?
Yeah, between 6 and 7 years.
Was that too long?
Well, normally they take about 18 months.
Why did it take so long?
Because of this panel they put together, and the Perry people you talked about, I think, got on that panel, and I hate to talk about it because it's past, and we now have our certificate, and that is the number one thing for me, is we have a certificate, we're ready to go, and
if this pipeline is built, and I think it will be, I hope it will be, do you see Inuvik, what would this town be like if that pipeline was to go, the construction of it, and then the production of gas to fill it? What would the streets be like? What would the town be like? What would the population be like?
Well, I would say it'll be a hell of a lot better than it is now, because people have no work and are hard up. And if you got no work and people have no money, what happens? You get more crime and more, you know, or people leave.
If you had one message to tell Southies, that's what I'm calling folks South at 60. If you had one message for Southies, if you had one message for politicians, what would it be to get this province and this town, this territory and this town booming? What would your message be?
My message would be to the government is that we've gone through all the necessary, you know, hearings and what have you, the engineering studies, the whole bit. We have a certificate to proceed, showing that we can do this in an environmental, friendly and safe manner. We have an application. Only way we can really make this happen is we need some sort of a fiscal package from the federal government. Not a handout, not a loan, but just a backstop. And similar to the way much of the rest of Canada was developed. They call this the last frontier, our government. They talk about protecting the sovereignty of the Arctic. Well, no better way, and I believe our Prime Minister said himself, no better way to make sure and protect our sovereignty is use it, build infrastructure and use it. Well, we're asking them to just get this project on the way, same as they developed the rest of the infrastructure in Canada, as I mentioned. You know, that's what we need to have happen.
Thank you for your time today.
You're more than welcome.